Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Chelsea have been pounded out of the Champions League by Real Madrid. A shocking performance from Chelsea again. All the new manager bounce of a dead pigeon with Frank Lampard. It's not his fault. Why would he turn the job down? But seriously, Premier League legend as a player, but as a manager, I don't think he could pour water out of a jug if you told him the instructions were on the bottom. I really don't. I don't think he's a very good coach. And I think you've got to look at the ownership again. Absolutely, Chelsea fans will tell you they were right to sack Potter. You were wrong to sack Potter. You should have waited till the summer. It's this. Look at West Ham. West Ham should sack David Moyes in the summer. You know, it's not working out. But get to the summer. Sacking Moyes now, there's nobody who is going to be better for West Ham than keeping them up. And when I look at Chelsea under Potter, maybe it wasn't right. Maybe the dressing room was gone. Maybe there was lots of things going wrong. But they were still creating a lot of chances. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Under Lampard, they're worse. They're a lot worse. I mean, the team selections are ridiculous. I used to listen to Chelsea fans say, oh, Potter doesn't know what he's doing. Why does he keep putting Havertz up front? Well, Lampard keeps putting Havertz up front. But what he also does is he plays Conor Gallagher as a centre attacking midfielder and keeps Sterling, Felix and Mudryk on the bench. None of which have been fantastic for Chelsea, but they're always going to be better than Conor Gallagher, who is being picked because Lampard wants someone to put a shift in. And then when they go 3-0 down, he takes Conor Gallagher off and Kante off and Enzo Fernandez off to bring his three attackers on. You were 2-0 down from the first leg, mate. You're at Stamford Bridge. Have a go. Have a go. It's just, they're so bad. They're just so bad to watch. The only game I haven't watched of Chelsea under Lampard was the Wolves game, so I can't comment on that. But both Real Madrid games and the Brighton game, they've been absolutely humiliated. And Todd Boehly can go into the bloody dressing room and say, why aren't you living up to your transfer fee? But that's not football. Like if Cardiff go and buy James Maddison, they're not going to suddenly get promoted because James Maddison cost them £80 million. You've got to have a team. You've got to have tactics. And this ridiculous... And look, I don't blame Lampard for taking the job because he's probably going to get some money. And he thought, look, the players are so good, I'll get some good results and then I'll probably end up getting the QPR job or something like that. Maybe it was a way back into management for Lampard. But actually, it's been the stupidest thing he ever could have done because in hindsight, and hindsight's a great thing, but when I heard Lampard was getting the job, I heard a lot of Chelsea fans going, oh, it's great, feel-good factor. And I was just like, this is going to go wrong. And I think I did a video on the channel. This is going to go wrong. There are too many good coaches in Europe and the Premier League to just try and go off vibes. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work, and it hasn't worked. And I don't think it's going to get any better because those players had basically given up already. They're not going to have any more now motivation. I mean, at least the Champions League, you're in a tournament that you're not going to win, but you're still in a tournament. They're out of the tournament now. They're mid-table. They've still got to play United, Arsenal, Man City. I think they've got Newcastle to play as well. They're going to be really difficult games for them. They're not motivated. It can only get worse for Chelsea. It's ridiculous. But you know what? The incredible thing is, defensively, they've been quite good this season, but offensively, they're a joke. And I'll still keep saying it. I think in Todd Boehly and whatever ownership Chelsea have got, they have got an ownership model that's really weird. This is not like Mike Ashley. This is not like the Glazers. This is not an ownership that's greedy and not interested in the football club. But it's a different type of bad ownership. This owner wants to spend money. Bloody hell he does. This owner wants Chelsea to be successful. Yes, he does. But this is an example of how you can have the wealth and you can have the desire, but you can't have. But if you haven't got the knowledge, it ends up being bad ownership. And I think, you know, it's probably a bit of a newbie for Chelsea fans and every other fan. You've got bad ownership at the moment. You've got somebody that's damaging your football club, but absolutely has their heart in the right place and wants to be successful, but is absolutely clueless on how to do it. And therefore, even I think the criticism sometimes is unfair because look at the money that's been spent. Look at the desire to be successful. But there's no leadership. Look at Bournemouth. Sack Gary O'Neill, sack Gary O'Neill. Those owners stick with Gary O'Neill. And now the Bournemouth fans are going, well done. We've got owners who've acted in the best interest of the club. And all anybody wants, you know, we don't want to run our football clubs. We just want owners that we can trust to run the club in the right way. And Chelsea do not have that. And that January transfer window as a non-Chelsea fan was very interesting to sit back and assess and look at. But throughout all that expenditure of Madueke and Mudryk and Gusto and Cucurella, that was the summer before, Badiashile, that was who I was meant to say, and loaning in João Felix, which was a lot of money as well. I mean, hundreds of millions of pounds spent in January, and the only striker they bought was a guy from the Norwegian league who's young and never going to be ready at the moment. So, £100 million on Enzo Fernandez. You could have waited for Enzo Fernandez in the summer and spent that on pulling up. Look, because Enzo Fernandez never should have happened. Benfica didn't want to sell him, and I don't think Enzo Fernandez really expected to go. And he ended up going because Chelsea just threw so much money at it. Well, you'd have been better off not signing Enzo Fernandez and using that £100 million to buy some striker, because you would have got somebody unobtainable would have been gettable. Now, I'm not saying you would have got Victor Osimhen from Napoli in January, but you might have got Ramos out of Benfica. You might have got Sesko out of Salzburg. For silly money, you might have got something. I mean, you may as well have got Danny Ings out of Villa. To not buy a striker was massively stupid, and I think everybody cannot blame Potter, because you can't blame Tuchel either, because it was very clear last summer that the players that were bought were not the players that Tuchel wanted, and it was abundantly clear in January that those players were bought and they weren't the players that Potter wanted. Both Potter and Tuchel would have wanted a top-class striker, and Chelsea decided to spend hundreds of millions of pounds not on a striker. I mean, Mudryk was bought because Arsenal wanted him. I don't know why Madueke was bought, probably for the future. Gusto and Nkunku are coming in the summer. They're both good players, but I mean, it's just haphazard, and you can't buy that volume of player in January and expect to be anything other than what Chelsea have been. And Potter's the one I feel sorry for, because with so many players and so many options and no striker, it's chaotic. I mean, imagine you're playing Football Manager or FIFA, or actually in the position where you manage Chelsea. You've got all these games coming up. You're in one of the most competitive Premier Leagues ever. And you've got nobody who can score goals, but absolutely loads of attacking midfielders. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And therefore, Chelsea find themselves in a position where they've got an owner who really wants to be successful and has spent loads of money, but may as well have thrown it on a bonfire, because it's just been spent completely in the wrong area. And the scary thing is that a lot of these players never should have been brought in the first place, and they should have waited till the summer on a lot of them, because it's just chaos. It's disorganised chaos at Chelsea. And then to compound it, you remove your manager. You need a manager because you're still in the Champions League, and you give it to an ex-player who's just been sacked by Everton because he's not good enough, and comes in, and in his first 4 games has scored 1 goal, which was a deflection, and has been beaten 4 times. It's just bad to worse. As I said, it's like divorcing a stunner for somebody who's average, for somebody who's terrible. It's just, and I know that's a bit lookist, but you know what I mean. I think Chelsea is an example in how not to run a football club in one season. Chelsea is its own project. It's its own analysis. You could write your dissertation or your degree around this. How not to run a football club by spending money. Why money is not the way. Basically, how Chelsea is how you can spend money and listen to fans and get it wrong. And it's been an absolute joke. And look, I think Real Madrid are good. I still think Champions League-wise, Man City are the favourites. The semi-final between Man City and Real Madrid, I think, is the final, with Napoli going out. But Chelsea should be doing better than that. And everybody, the horrible thing about Chelsea at the moment is you are very predictable. You are not going to score goals and you're going to get beat. They need the end of the season massively. And whoever comes in, I mean, God knows what's happening with Chelsea this summer. Are you going to spend another 500 million? I just don't know. I watch with interest, but it's absolutely incredible. Anyway, get your comments in below. Smash the like on the video, and I'll speak to you on the next one.